So I think the time has come for me to move into my review of this film, this part 1 of Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn. I'm going to review it as I would any film and rate it as I would any film. I just wanted to give you that little background and my theories on kind of the series in general. So this movie starts out with the wedding between Edward and Bella, starting off with these pre-wedding scenes. And there is a scene at the beginning where Edward comes into Bella's room, as he does, and they're having a little discussion, and it is so random, this scene. I've never watched a movie and thought a scene was so random in my entire movie-going life, because he comes into the room and they're just like talking about like cold feet or whatever. I mean, that's, I guess, normal. But then he, out of nowhere, starts going into his past as a vampire and talks about how when he was a young vampire, like killing people, and they start to show this little vignette. And in the flashback, I started to have like a moment of like, oh, we're gonna get to see cool vampire stuff. Oh, we're gonna have a moment here of cool vampire stuff. He's, eyeing this lady up, and you're made to think that he's gonna follow her out and like take this lady out, and you think, oh, he's gonna get this lady, he's gonna attack her and bite her and whatever. And I was like, oh, this is cool, this is gonna be cool. And then it like totally like slams in your face, and then it's like, no, you don't get to see any cool vampire stuff. Remember, this is Twilight. It just, oh my gosh, the way it was delivered, the way that scene was like injected into that part of the story was so random and strange. I was like, what is going on? That was like a moment of maybe possibility, and it was like, burr, like right into the ground. Anyway, we move on with the wedding preparations. We have the wedding. From that stuff all the way through the honeymoon and the whatever, this movie was so boring. It was so boring. It was so boring. At least during those scenes with the wedding, at least it was somewhat normal. During these wedding scenes, we got to see some of the high school friends, as I'm sure people who watched the earlier films remember those high school kind of friends that she had, one of which, the actress that was just in 50/50, and she is a fantastic she was also in that Up in the Air, and she's really, really talented. And me and my mom, actually, I have a memory when we left the very first Twilight movie, we both said that one of the best parts of this movie was that girl that plays Bella's friend. She was so funny, she was charismatic, she really like stood out on the screen, and she has a couple moments at the wedding. She's like, honestly, she was like the only comic relief in this film. And that's another huge issue I had with it. The tone of this movie was just very, very bizarre. There was no lightness or joy or cleverness or playfulness. Let's talk about the humor in this film for a minute. The moments when people laughed a little bit were usually awkward laughter moments, like where people weren't sure. Like, a really good example is when Bella's drinking the blood out of the Jamba Juice cup, like would laugh a little bit, like Robert Pattinson, I actually like Robert Pattinson. I think other things I've seen him in, I think he has a very nice screen presence. I like his smile. I think he kind of lights up the screen. I like him. I don't think he's so bad, but the material he's given to work with is rubbish. The chemistry between him and Kristen Stewart, I don't believe at all. But honestly, I really think it's because I don't like the character of Edward. His makeup looks really strange sometimes. That's another problem I have. Sometimes it looks very strange. Sometimes it looks not as strange. And the material he's being given and the character is just there. It is not connecting at all. He is not like in this character's skin at all, and I don't blame him because I don't like that character either. And that, I think, is the main problem I have with Robert Pattinson. But Taylor Lautner, who plays Jacob, and here's another thing. In the books, I like Jacob as a character. Taylor Lautner, like, he really was atrocious in this movie. Atrocious. His acting was so bad that I just couldn't believe what I was seeing sometimes. I'm not trying to over-dramatize this. I really could not. I just was like, oh my gosh, why? Like, I thought in particular, any scene where it was Jacob and the two other werewolves, one of which was a girl, I think the character is Leah, and one of them was a younger boy who I think is Seth. Those two other werewolf characters. I thought they looked the parts. I thought it was the kind of thing where I wanted to like that little trio so much. I wanted to like them, but I could not like them because when they were together, I don't know if anyone agrees with me on this, when the three of them were together and had dialogue, which was way too frequently in the movie, it was so bad. I know that some of that poor acting was probably prompted or helped along by the script. And that's another huge issue I had with this movie, was that the script was a mess. It was such a mess. Same thing being said over and over again, which is part of the reason why it was so boring, was nothing was happening. It was just like a constant cycle of this dialogue, the same discussions of the same topics over and over again. It made it so boring, and the way it was being delivered was so dull. It was just dull. This movie had like no spirit in it. There was no spirit. This bothered me so much. Oh my gosh. I know this is turning into a rant. This is a really ranty thing to say. The girl that plays, I think it's Rose, whatever that character is, the blonde one who is a member of the Cullen family. I actually think she's not a bad actress, but her wig was atrocious. Get the girl a nice wig. Seriously? I'm assuming the budgets of these films by this point are like in the millions of dollars. You could not afford a good wig for that actress? What on earth is going on? I was very scared about this one element of Twilight, which is this whole imprinting thing. And they tried to, in their messy, strange way, try to explain that concept in this book, in this movie. I know that the defense of it and the reason I guess it's acceptable is that, you look at them as if you imprint on a girl who's younger than you, that it's like you treat them more of a younger sister until you're both of age, and then it becomes like a romantic thing. That part of the story I always found to be very bizarre, even in its book incarnation, and I was very interested to see how this was going to play out in the movie, because I was just like, how are they going to sell this to people and not have it be completely and utterly disturbing? Towards the beginning, and people who haven't read the book might not have noticed it. I'm not trying to be a jerk by like pointing the fingers and like, I saw this part, now I'm going to tell everybody, for those who haven't noticed, because I'm assuming they thought maybe it was subtle enough that people wouldn't notice, and it was just a little nod to the book readers, like, oh no, we didn't leave out this part of the story. But so I'm surprised they didn't leave it out. If I was the filmmaker, I'd be like, just get that out of there. It's really weird. I don't understand it, and I would want to do away with it. But see, they couldn't do away with it with Jacob because it's a big part of the story. But there's another werewolf character who's like a side character or whatever, and he imprints on a toddler-age girl. And I don't remember their names. I do not remember their names. I remember being like, what? To me, besides the point, because he imprints on a toddler girl. And in the movie, for just a second, when the tribe is kind of hanging out down by the beach and they're talking about this imprinting thing, kind of talking about it, so obviously it was meant to be mentioned in that context, they kind of show down on the shoreline for a minute, and those two characters are standing down there, like the boy is like or holding the hand of, or like leaning down, whatever, next to like a toddler, a little girl. That is so creepy. Like, how, I'm sorry, but that I don't get. I mean, maybe somebody can try to explain it to me further. Just the male characters imprint on other girls their age. Why? It's the big thing. I can't even fathom how on earth this next movie is going to come to fruition. I mean, if anyone out there thought this one was bad, they have no idea what's coming. I'm ready to rate it. I'm going to give it, because see, the way I think about the rating is like I start off at 10, which is the highest, and I kind of go down and down from there. And I pretty much came to this conclusion last night. I'm going to go 3 out of 10. I'm going to go 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. That's all I can give it. That stinks. I don't like doing that. It's weird because I thought I'd be okay, like kind of sticking it to movies like when the negative ones started to come in, because I knew it that couldn't last forever, like giving movies 8s and 9s and 8.5s and things like that. I hope you liked this review. I'm sure it's going to turn out very long. I haven't edited it yet, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I hope I had some interesting points to make. You know, I really want to express my opinion. I really want to make this channel legit by me being legit and expressing my true opinion. And if you'd like to see more of my stuff in the future, please subscribe.